Yeah. Yeah. I know they mad for no reason. I'm holding on to change my life. Gotta move fast for a reason. I'm holding on to change my life. Huddling, I'm staring at charts until I retire. Yeah. Huddling, I'm staring at charts until I retire. Oh, 700K, I'm selling a Bitcoin. Haters mad, but they listen to this one. More profit coming to my direction. Yeah, you know me, I don't need a mention. I got the remedy, ooh, yeah. They don't just follow me, ooh, yeah. You say allegedly, ooh, yeah. You would subscribe to me, ooh, yeah. Staring at chart, drawing a line. Make a decision, you out of time. Huddling, I'm staring at charts until I retire. Yeah. Huddling, I'm staring at charts until I retire. Yeah. See on stage. On-chain revolution. Youngest. Phone.
Welcome back to On-Chain Revolution. My name is Shizzy. On this channel, we cover the entire crypto ecosystem. What is up, guys? So today we have a red bath. We have a bloodbath today. It's not looking too good. We did have a really, really good first part of this year. I mean, today is day 7. We did run from, I want to say, 87 to about 93.5, almost. Hey, we did hit 94. We hit 94.2, I think it was. And right now we're down to 91.383. But the altcoins are really bleeding right now. You have Farcoin down 10%, which, you know, if you watch the show, we think is the leading indicator for meme coins. You do have tokens like Agent Hustle that's down 10%, Monad down 10%. Aster down 6%, and you know it sucks because the stock market's having a good day. You got, you know, the S&P 500 at an all-time high almost. I mean, I think it's right. It's like $2 under an all-time high. You have the Nasdaq basically nearing an all-time high. The Dow Jones, the same thing. Dow Jones is about to be 50,000. It's pretty crazy. You know, and then you go down. You see ICP down 4%. You see XPL down 11%. Virtual is down 6%. It's not looking good. And do we need this pullback? Probably. Were we running? But we were running just like everything else. The stocks are running too. But why do we need the pullback? It sucks. It's almost thinking that, you know, this could have been a fake out. This could have got everyone long and then knocked them all out. That's one thing that here in crypto is we have tons and tons of degenerate gamblers who go overboard on leverage. Do they have that in TradFi? Yes, but not to this extent. Right. Leverage trading really, you know, isn't their thing. They go to options, right? The options really doesn't affect the day-to-day as much as perps do. Perps has probably been one of the worst things to happen to our system, right? Because it is just day-to-day wipeouts, right? You're seeing, you know, go one way, they wipe out the other way. So it's really hard to judge. And, you know, if you're looking at crypto right now, we really have to start looking into projects and kind of start looking in, right? Because this could be the bottom. We could go lower. Benjamin Cohen thinks that, you know, we're going to have a higher high. And could we've already had it? Could have 94 been the higher high? And then we go down to 86, 84, 82, 79 even? Probably, honestly. I'm not ruling it out. I don't want that to happen. I'm not ruling it out. You can't rule that out anymore. Could this be a bear market year? You can't rule it out anymore. There's a lot to think about. I don't want it to be. Obviously, we run a show that is dependent on the market doing good, right? So it's still a tough time, you know. And everyone was very happy to get in 2026, but 2026 so far, it's only 7 days in, has been just an extended version of 2025. You know, in the sense of, you know, once we get a little bit of momentum, we get smacked in the face with a day like this. You know, we're removing probably like 30% of the gains that we've got over the last 7 days, especially in some of these altcoins. Is it deserved? Probably. You know, maybe we shouldn't have ran so hard, but it did feel good. It felt so good. And maybe I'm addicted to the adrenaline and the dopamines. But I want to feel something again, guys. I want to feel something. So, yeah, Yeah, and I want to make opportunities, right? I want to find the opportunities. I want to look for opportunities again. And when markets are like this, it's really hard. But we got some major news too. Major news today. We're gonna get into that later. But let's get the show started. So without further ado, bring our partner here, as always, Mr. Yagobi. What's up, buddy?
What's up? What's
going on, man? How you feeling, bro? I kind of ran a little bit. How you feeling?
Yeah, I'm trying to bring the energy today. The past couple of days, just been I changed up my sleep schedule a bit. Getting addicted to trying to build stuff using AI and vibe coding, right? Man, I'll tell you, if you are looking to get into that, and I know we've talked about that on the show quite a bit lately, just be prepared to stay up late, not wanting to do what your regular things you do, your daily chores and all that, whatever, because you're going to be stuck to your computer wanting to hit that next update. But yeah, outside of that, today's pullback a little bit expected. I talked about that yesterday a little bit in the price action, seeing a little bit of a stall there, seeing if we can get past that level of 94. I think it was 3, right, for Bitcoin, and we couldn't. We pulled back. So I think this is going to be just a short-term chop kind of situation. I do think we do have that leg, but we'll get into that during price action. Outside of that, the space seems like it's weird. The energy definitely came back. I predicted that last week, saying, hey, I think people are going to get overzealous, overexcited. The energy is going to be everywhere because Bitcoin is running right now. But I think they're going to get curb checked really quick. And I think that's what's happening right now. But don't worry. I don't think this is going to be like a go back to 85, 86, 87,000 thing. I think it's just kind of cooling off here. And then we're going to go sideways for a little bit and then start that next leg up. But the end of the month is a different story.
Yeah. I mean, we're still a long ways away from that. Anything can happen. We have to CPI next week, get PPI next week, get the jobs numbers again. 90% chance of keeping the rate cut in at the end of this month the same. So there's a lot that can change in going into that. So who really knows? We might get to 100% next week though if the inflation it rises a little bit. But I mean, I'm seeing gas prices at 270 here in Philly, right? Which is the lowest I've seen since Trump last time. Honestly, I'm not even like saying that as a political thing. I mean, the gas prices haven't been this cheap in a long time, which normally happens as inflation drops down because you need less and less for the trucks, which means you need less. You don't have to charge as much in the stores, right? So it's kind of like that's a big thing there. So for sure. But I'm curious in the chat, how many hours a night do you guys need? Because me and Yagobi are talking. He needs like 7, 8. I'm good with like 5, 6. What about you guys? How many hours of sleep do you guys need per night? I would love to know. I want to know Ryan's sleep schedule. Ryan sleeps probably like 3 hours a night, bro. He's probably jacked up on
the energy. Extreme. Do you remember Harold and Kumar? The movie Harold and Kumar? Yeah. Remember the extreme Mountain Dew guys that would come out and they'd be like, extreme. That's what that reminded me of just now when you were talking about the energy. I used to drink an energy drink every day. You remember that on the show? Yeah. I'll go get an energy drink every morning. I'd wake up. But the thing about me is, as I got older, more settled down, the married life type of thing, I would just naturally go to sleep earlier, and I just feel so refreshed waking up at still 5:30, 6:30 a.m. But man, I feel like I'm in my 20s playing video games late right now, but it's trying to figure out what I want to build and just getting interested in building stuff on my computer and with vibe coding and stuff. But he says right here 5, 6 for him, sometimes 3, 4 for Ryan Boylan, but I guarantee you drink energy drinks, I'm sure.
Let's get into my man's comments, bro. He is energized today. He said, "Did you mean this dump for real?" What's up, my dude? He says, and then he says, everything fluctuating with Bitcoin. Bitcoin is always in control right now. Bitcoin 500K by year end. I mean, yeah, let's do it. He said, I hear you. I hear you is coming, my dude. Now is time to find opportunities. What's up? Shit, Yagobi. What's up, Shizzy? What's up, chat? Springs like coiling. Well, yeah, 5 to 6. He says, and then he says, I was Doogie Howser. Who's that? Doogie.
So
the sunroof of the limo.
I forgot his actual actor name now.
Doogie.
Neil Patrick Harris, I think his name is. He's the guy that he played. Doogie Howser was that like teenage doctor or whatever show in the 90s. But yeah. And then we had Rita that was commenting from X early in the morning, says GM. Well, that was an early morning for you. And then MSTR gets to remain. That's big.
That's my big news for today, right? Rita just spoiled it for us, but yeah, we're gonna into that a little bit later. But yeah, I mean, it's official; they're not getting kicked out. But isn't it funny though? Bitcoin dumped because they could get kicked out, and then Bitcoin dumps when they're in.
Yeah,
like,
I think this is just
good news is bad news.
Bad news is
bad news is bad news. It's just there is no such thing as news does not drive our markets right now.
But 2025 is in the rearview mirror. We got to remember that. Right.
Do we need 2026 to be in the review?
Year of the horse, the fire horse. You know,
I think year of the horse just means work your fucking. I mean, sorry, work your ass off, right? So it's like I think, and then hopefully 2027 is a good year. I don't know, man. Let's get into today's topic. We talked about it a little bit, but we'll just continue with it. Is this pump for real, or is it another brutal trap before the next dump? So Benjamin Cohen, somebody who has been, I want to say 96% right last year, right? With all of his calls. Like
that was a very particular statistic percentage though.
Well, I based it on 100 different comments from him from the total year.
He got
like 4 wrong.
Oh,
that was kind of my thinking.
Now that 96% looks a lot more solid.
Because I was thinking, I was like, there's 4 times where I think he got wrong. He was wrong in June a little bit. He wasn't expecting that big of a pump, right? So, and he wasn't like fully wrong.
Yeah,
he did say it could go here.
And I think he got a little lucky by October 10th for the dominance thing.
Yeah,
but
100%.
Counts.
Right. So
even if it was only for a day, even if it was only so, I think this is gonna feel like it is right now, but I don't think the trap is right now. I think the trap is towards the end of the month, or maybe the 3rd week. Right, it could happen in the 3rd week. I just think that this is a little temporary. You know, I do think that leg that pulled us back up was pretty strong, but we're just seeing some profit taking right now in chop. Right, that's what we're seeing. We're seeing some chop that's happening, and that's normal. Whenever you see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 green daily candles in a row, right? Then you're going to see, a couple red candles on the daily chart. I mean, it makes sense. And then you'll see some green probably pull back up and maybe another red. So I could see, sideways until Sunday or something. And maybe we have that next leg up unless, so there is something right now that's forming from a global geopolitical standpoint, and it's China coming out, saying that they're not happy with the U.S.'s actions recently, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. What's new? This happens like every 3 to 6 months with some country in the U.S., right? Now, obviously, China is more influential, but unless that gets more aggressive. All right. And it was pretty aggressive, actually. It wasn't even she. It was like one of the I think maybe the defense minister or somebody in their, upper chambers or, in that ranking. But he said something like, if the US wants a war, we'll give them a war. We won't give them a chance to respond. So maybe that's what's, creating a little bit of shakiness. But hey, the traditional markets are doing fine. Right. So yeah. I don't think that's why I feel like this is more of just, okay, like, we're just having some chop because we had 6, 7 green candle days in a row.
Yeah, that could be it too. It could be everything kind of ran hard. But like I said, the stocks ran hard too. Like, you know what I mean? Like stocks, I mean, we're at an all-time high. The S&P got kind of hit in the back end of last year, right? In the last couple weeks. And now we're back at an all-time high going, potentially into a new chairman. Like it just feels like TradFi is really bullish on their assets right now. They're just not letting up. Every single opportunity they have to buy NVIDIA, to buy these other ones, they're buying, right? And it's only like 7 or 8 stocks, but at the same time, that's like saying, Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, Solana, but they don't go up either, right? So it's like it's the same thing.
Well, they did though. They did from that lower range, right? But you have to remember too that just because on our date we can't go from 2026 to or 2025 to 2026, right? It's not going to happen right away in terms of going into risk on. That's a transition, right? So I think psychologically they're still business as usual, a little carryover from that, right?
Yeah.
psychologically. So they're going to cling on more to their S&P 500, their indexes, their Nvidia's hot. You know, they had what's his name, the CEO's on one of those channels yesterday. Is there the electronics convention happening in Vegas soon or something? Okay,
it's happening.
So there was a lot of focus on that and other stocks. So where are they going to find the capital for that? Probably from Bitcoin. You know, Bitcoin's ran up for 6-7 days. They're going to go into something a little bit more what they think is more safe right now. But that, I think psychologically that's going to change as we get more and more risk on, right? But we got to see the liquidity flowing. We got to see, you know, Jay Powell, how is he going to act in 2026? And as we get closer to the chair flip, you know, what does that look like?
Yeah, I mean, we're still 4 months away from that, right? So that's not until May. And we got, you know, 3 more meetings. I think there's one in January. There's not one in February. I think one in March and one in April. So we still have Jay Powell for three more potential you know, non-rate cuts. And then what, you know, everyone's saying we could see 6 rate cuts from May until the end of the year, right? So it could be a rate cut every single time. And, you know, some of them could be 0.5. We could see rates going down to 2% as long as Trump can get inflation down. So but macro. I mean, it just sucks to always depend on macro at this point, right? So,
yeah, it does suck.
But let's jump into some crypto price action and see exactly where everything is at for you guys in the crypto bubbles. Excited to kind of see this.
Yeah, let's do it. But before we do, guys, help us out like you always do on that YouTube side. Smash that like for us. Subscribe to the channel and turn your notifications on so you know when we go live, which is Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. Eastern time. And if you are interested in getting that little space in the bottom right, you can go to pyro.buzz and bid on that for exposure for your project, right? So that's really cool. And then shout out to on the X side, make sure you guys are sharing this space. I feel like X is definitely trying to suppress like the digital asset space or crypto. Everybody's complaining about that, but you guys can definitely help us out by sharing the space, get as many people in here as possible. And then shout out to our abstract community and the pump stream community. Of course, Zora, we are back live again. Zora, they switched their RTMP, but we got that updated today. So we are good and live over there. So shout out to all you guys and Rumble, by the way, we're growing our audience over there and viewership. So shout out to Rumble. They got some big news, I think, as well. But I'm excited. You know, for all the platforms that want to, you know, push out education for digital assets in this space. But let's get in some Bitcoin price action because that is what you guys are waiting for. And if you are new, just to let you know, it's not an in-depth TA session or anything like that. We just try to get a pulse on where Bitcoin, Ethereum, and maybe the alt market wants to go. And we always start with the hour chart. Is typically where I start, unless it's there's a specific reason not to start that way. But if you take a look here, you can see on the hour chart, man, we have an extension of this momentum indicator, the MACD. In the sell pressure session, you can see, man, it started back on Monday, so not too long ago, right? A couple days ago, but it looked like it wanted to end and just had that extension kind of kick out. Now it looks like this isn't the second time it's really, well, I would say third because it almost looked like it did there. But so third time it wanted to end, maybe even fourth. But will we get it? That's the question. Will we get it? We haven't like hung out deep in the oversold territory, but we have been in oversold since Wednesday on the stochastic side, right? Well, yeah, without like visiting back up, right? So since this last re-entry of the oversold territory, it's been Wednesday, which is this morning, 4 a.m. Central, 5 a.m. Eastern. So what's going to happen here? Usually whenever it fakes out and it comes back down, man, that's never like the best situation. I feel like it just gets entangled down here and then we start to see further down. So, and being that this is like the fourth fake out on the MACD indicator, I'm not going to say, you know, we're coming out of this just yet until we actually start to get closer to that 50-point range on the stochastic RSI. You can see that it does want to curl up, but it's curled up several times here. So I would just be very patient right now with Bitcoin. You know, especially if you're trying to, you know, if you're just one of those people that cannot short, definitely be extra careful because, you know, the fake outs continue. As you can see, fake out, fake out, boom, 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 right? So I would wait until it ventures into a give you conviction territory. And that means like probably passing over this 50 point mark on the stochastics. You know, you saw that happen here, and that was a great kind of, you know, collective group of green candles that brought us from 91.4 to almost 94, right? So once you cross over this 50 point mark, you can feel more confident, right? But that doesn't mean it's going to completely switch over, because that's not what happened here. So see, as you can see, again, it just kind of started to re-solidified this kind of sell pressure right here just now. So just be patient here, I would say, you know, until you get some indication that you're confident that it's going to flow back up. Because, you know, for the rest of today, I would say, you know, it's probably going to trend down even more. We're at 91.4. Yesterday I was talking about going from 94 to 93.5 or something like that, and we obviously went further down than that. But kind of see where that floor is, that footing. I don't think it's going to be too much further down, but again, you know, until you get that confident conviction, you gotta wait and see. And that's kind of where we are with Bitcoin on the hour chart. So let's take a look at the 4 hour. The 4 hour fully into sell pressure mode, right? So it does give some extra, you know, evidence to the hour chart that, hey, you know, even in the swing term, like the 2-4 day range, Bitcoin does want to swing down. And we saw that right here, bam. But look at, that's after all this up. Now, are we going to lose all the ground that we got? I don't think so. I don't think that happens. I think it's more of like starting a new kind of choppy, you know, floor. We're going to find out where that is, though. If you're looking at the stochastics too, it definitely doesn't seem like it wants to end just yet. So more patience, more patience. Where do we want to go? Do we want to go to 90? Do we want to go to 89? Do we want to break below 90? I could see us doing that, but probably just to scare some people that were uber aggressive to the upside. And that's how this market works, right? So many longs getting pushed in as we're riding up to 94, 95. It makes sense to kind of scare some people out of their positions, close early, maybe not in so much profit that they had before. That's why you got to take profit. So that this 4 hours telling me more down, unfortunately. Looking at the daily does not look great either. So we're starting to get what? Alignment on every time frame, right? You got the 1 hour, which, you know, this one's a little bit more tricky, but it's still in sell session, right? And then you can see the 4 hour still in sell session, strong in sell session. And then you got the daily that looks like it's about to exit buy pressure, right? Now, so let's say we get a big headline, this 1 hour just goes aggressively to the upside, and the daily can kind of save this. But look, we're extended here. It's kind of like the opposite of the 1 hour, right? Instead of being extended on the buy side or sell side, it's extended on the buy side. So I think it's exhausted here. So I am more in the camp that we're probably going to see some, you know, downtrend with some choppiness. So that's what we got for Bitcoin. And then something really quickly to look at here. I'm going to change this to the weekly. If I can, I should be able to here. That's my cat, if you guys can hear. Let me see if I can get to the weekly here. All right, let me reset this. So the weekly is also interesting, right? So let's say that we get, you know, kind of heading into Wednesday with this choppiness with the downtrend from those 3 timeframes that we saw. The weekly can kind of, you know, stay a little flat until Sunday, and then we get that aggressive push up, right? So it's almost like a perfect setup for a Sunday night situation to start next week. Let's just see what happens, because I do think, you know, if you go to the monthly, that's what scares me the most. And that, to me, you'll see this really come to be more effective towards, you know, if we have more of like a bullish start to the month, probably towards the end of the month, right? So that's what I'm seeing for Bitcoin. Let's take a quick look-see with Ethereum, but it's going to be very, very similar. I mean, looking at the hour chart here, reset this, you can see definitely wants to continue down, even more so than Bitcoin. And then you look at the 4 hour here, very similar to Bitcoin on the 4 hour, just kind of, you know, confidently want in the sell session, pressure session there. And then you go to the daily, and you can see the daily is starting to break down, right? So that's Bitcoin, Ethereum. Let's take a look here, and it does not look good. It looks very bloody in the alt market. You can see most everything is pulled back. Anything that's pulled up is very minimal. You can see Pepe leading the way here at 4 barely over 4% to the upside. You see Midnight's had a good run recently. You know, when everything's bleeding right now, it's up 3.4%. Meme Core up 2.8%. The stuff that has pulled back though, man, all the gains that we saw in this alt market the past couple days, just pulling back. You see Lit Protocol had a good run. It's pulled back about 10%. Dash coin is down 8.1 following another privacy protocol. Zcash down 6%. Say down 3.3%. Ondo down 5.6%. So that RWA project there down about 6% there. HBAR down 4.5% alongside XRP. So, you know, most of these blue chips and these top kind of blue chips and legacy, because a lot of these are legacy. You see Filecoin and stuff, they're around 4 to 6% on pullback, right? How bloody does it get? Because this is kind of starting to get it's that next level, right? 4 to 6%. If it continues, you know, will we see 7, 8? That type of situation. But that is the top 100 for you guys. Taking a look here in the top 200, you can see River is down 30%, but this also had a good run. Pippin down 16%. So it's kind of been on a down streak recently. Pippin is that AI meme coin on Solana. You see Sonic down about 5%, Judo down 11.5%. What else do we have here? Monad down 8.5%, going back to the point, almost 3 cents though. So it's not too bad because it was worse than that. I saw at 0.023, sitting at 0.027. Yeah, so that is pretty much Bitcoin, Ethereum in the alt market for you guys. You see Radium down 5%, Pith down 3.6%. So XPL down, Plasma down 8.2%. So on average, same thing about for the more larger projects, almost 6 to 8%. Going 3 to 6 to 8%, not very much pulling up if there are any, they're very kind of one-off situations like Piverse, which seems to be very like meme-ish, which is probably not because I said that. But yeah, that is Bitcoin, Ethereum, and the alt markets for you guys, and kind of a little bit expected, right? We had a good run up to start the year. Got to probably take a little break here.
Yeah, it's just deeper than I expected. Right, like I wasn't expecting to like some of these altcoins to be down like 30% since yesterday.
Sustainability,
right?
That has been the issue.
But like some of the coins lost all their gains. Like they were up for like 3 days and they lost all their gains in one day. Like seriously, like it's crazy. But it is what it is. Not fun at all. But let's kind of get into. I got some comments here. I remember Ryan says, "Bitcoin trying to climb back on the hour." Myself says, "Yeah, everyone is in crypto naturally gravitates towards macroeconomics when crypto's down." Yeah, it's like we need somewhere to blame, right? He says, "Healthy pullback for alts." I'd say, think so.
I do think so. I think so because it happened so quickly. And remember, people tried to get back into some of their positions that they got out of, probably with tax harvesting, right? And trying to get it cheap too, right? So if you did get out in the beginning of December at a higher price and then it started to go down, then you're like, okay, January 1st, January 2nd, January 3rd. I mean, that's just a logical thing that pops in my head, right? But again, going from about 88 to 94, almost 95, that's a good run up. Six grand. Good run up for what we've experienced at least lately. And so, I do think the sustainable uptrends will happen later down in this year.
Man. All right, let's move along to some news here. We got MSCI indices reports that they will not delist MSTR from its indices. So that was a big news in December. We got report that they were looking to delist MSTR, and what that would have done to the stock is they would no longer be allowed to be held by any like sovereign funds, right? So any funds that they were in at all, they would have to be immediately, automatically, almost like dumped into the market because they weren't allowed to hold them. And there's some of these indices have 1% of the supply, right? So it would have been really, really bad because you got to remember these indices were buying MSTR back in 2022, 2023 because they weren't able to get exposure any other way to Bitcoin. So they were piling in to MSTR and they're still holding that. Some of them have bought the Bitcoin ETF now, so they might have sold MSTR throughout this year and started buying more of the the ETF. So we'll kind of see what happens here. But how do you feel about this? Like normally this would pump the crap out of markets.
Yeah, I think it's good news, of course, right? But probably could have used this in Q4, right? Instead of
it went
right
the other way
now.
in Q4, right?
I know, and so it's kind of like we know that the headlines are used as chess pieces with a lot of these institutions and stuff. I mean, it's a part of it, right? And I think maybe this is supposed to help with the uptick of stuff, but I think if anything, this is probably going to help the MSTR holders, right? The MSTR holders feel a little bit better about their positions in the stock and stuff like that. They, MSTR probably not going to get bashed as much, because this is a win for them.
Yeah, and MSTR is one of the stocks last year that had a pretty terrible year. It was, one of the highest traded stocks in 2024. 2025, it did not have a good year. I mean, it got whooped all year. I think it's down almost 70% from its all-time high in 2024. So, this would have been, in my opinion, this would have been a death signal to MicroStrategy because they would have to sell Bitcoin. Not in a sense of they would be, go out of business, but in the sense of they would have to sell down Bitcoin if this happened. They would be forced to. There's no other way. Because their stock, they're borrowing against their stock. So the stock hits a certain price on the way down, they have to pay back some of those loans before they hit margin, or at least add to those loans so that they don't margin, right? So it's one of those things where this is at least Michael Saylor. He probably woke up to a nice deep breath this morning, like, whew, like that would have been bad.
Yeah, I have a feeling that he kind of knew this was going to happen, though, because like when you're in that position and you're just you're mingling with the right people, you know what I mean? You're in the right communication channels and all these things. More than anything, I think I'd love to see how much this has positively affected, if at all, MSTR, and which institutions played this perfectly, because I'm sure there were some that played this hand very, very well.
Yeah. So we'll kind of see this is good that like happening now, because I feel like a lot of the treasury companies were in trouble as well. So this could have been a nice fresh breath of fresh air for them as well. So we'll kind of see what happens. I mean, Tom Lee was probably like loving this news because now he potentially can get bought up by some of these indices as well. They won't be afraid to start dipping their toe into what he's building over there. So, but yeah, all good news there. Again, in a bullish market, this would have sent Bitcoin skyrocketing.
Yeah, well, yes, because it was. The thing is, it's almost kind of like a putback, though. You know what I mean? You're putting the piece back.
Bitcoin got whooped on that news in December.
Bitcoin got whooped on many things, though. And it was just I feel like it was just an extra. Okay, let's keep this waterfall downwards going type situation, right? But I mean, if you look at MSTR from December 31st, which 153, so it's up about $10 from there. It's at 163 right now, and it peaked, I think this morning? Yeah, this morning at what was it, 170. So the news obviously did do some good positive for it to the upside. But what the funny thing is? The dump for MSTR occurred January 6th, yesterday morning, from 166 to 154. And then the pump started 2 p.m. yesterday at 154 and went all the way to that pretty much 170 last night at 7:30, right? So like people knew all this stuff, right? Unless that announcement was yesterday, which I don't think it was it? Maybe it was late last night.
So Saylor tweeted about this morning, but it might have came out yesterday.
Okay. And then people are going to just know. Like they're in their circles, right? Like I was mentioning before. So, and people that know, they have size and they make the charts move.
Yep. All right, let's move along here. Tether has announced the launch of Scudo, a new unit of account for its tokenized gold. Think of Scudo as a Satoshi. Tether Gold, Scudo simplifies gold by pricing and by defining one Scudo as 1,000th of a troy ounce of gold. I don't know what a troy
Interesting.
ounce is, but now they have. So Tether has officially found a way to, basically
Tokenize.
0.00. I mean, they tokenized gold already, but for a while you can only but you had to buy the full ounce, right? So now
Tokenized
they
it
figured
to
out.
its smallest unit, though.
Well, they're basically saying you can to a small.
Because all you gotta do is
Bitcoin's
add
the
up
same
all
way.
the troy ounces, and then you just got to back it by all your gold, right?
Yeah,
And so
100%. You just divide.
Yeah.
But now they actually gave it a name, which I didn't know it had. And then so now their XAUT is now trading very similar to Bitcoin.
So if I want to inscribe on a Scudo, will they actually
could.
put my image on the ounce of gold? No, I'm
Well,
just kidding. I'm joking.
Your Scudo is in a vault somewhere.
Nah,
under,
I'm messing around.
in
I'm messing
Denmark
around.
or something. But I mean, you could take that Scudo that is wrapped technically, and you can inscribe onto that probably because we can inscribe. You can inscribe into Ethereum.
Yeah, I mean that's where like you're kind of like, how does that work again? Obviously, they're just like little bits in of data that you can put more data on top of or storage.
You got to run an indexer. For
yeah, but I
remember
remember whenever the inscription meta went, it was so crazy how the inscription meta went because like everybody was trying to like jump on it, but it wasn't sexy. You know what I mean? It was like everybody like
an off-chain indexer.
Well, I'm just saying it was like everybody knew that like BRC20s were hot at the time, ordinals were hot, and then all of a sudden you got like AVAX putting out ARC 20s and Tron TRX 20s.
It wasn't so. It was just people running indexers. It wasn't.
I know, but
team.
like but I know, but like the meta was trying to get going, but then it was like, we're only doing this. I said it tried to get going. I said
it was like 5 people.
No, I mean, but they were all on the timeline. They tried to get going in terms of they tried to push it, right? And so my point was that the only reason that we were doing that was because that's what we had to do on Bitcoin.
I know.
like you guys don't have to do that. Like, you know what I mean? Now, Litecoin, Dogecoin, okay, that made sense. But when you talk about the proof of stake chains, like,
I know.
Why are you doing it? Like, what's the point? It was
100%
marketing.
Got one. Polkadot got one because you can't run smart contracts on Polkadot. You can only run layer 2s or layer 1s on top of Polkadot. So people started inscribing into Polkadot. So Polkadot had coins running on it for like the first time. So that kind of did okay. But again, it was like 13 people that were just kind of pushing it. Market caps got to like 200-300K, but it was like, but the funny part, there was no liquidity pools. You had it was only worth what someone was willing to pay. So it was like, I don't know. It was just. It was so stupid. Now looking back, it was so dumb. But that was a time. It was a time to be alive.
I mean, there was opportunity for sure.
The U.S. Supreme Court set Friday as the possible ruling day on Donald Trump's global tariffs. This is something that uncertainty is bringing to the market. So this Friday, Supreme Court may force Trump to refund over $133 billion in tariffs, and Polymarket is actually giving a 77% chance that Supreme Court rules President Trump's tariffs are illegal, and the U.S. has to pay back all that money. And he's already promising the American people that money. You know what I mean? Like he's already saying, like, we're gonna get stimulus checks, but it's gonna be paid for. So if this rules a certain way, or the way Polymarket thinks, then there is going to be no stimulus this year.
Wait, so this is set for this Friday?
Yeah.
Where they're going to make the final ruling? Possible ruling. Okay, possible ruling.
I mean, they could delay it.
Yeah, I think they will. That's obviously such a huge decision in how it's going to affect economies. Not just the U.S. economy, but the global economy, especially the U.S. economy, of course. And our markets will get obliterated, I feel like, right? Because then they're going to start.
Well, tariffs are going. Our markets got obliterated when they added tariffs. They're going to get obliterated when they take them away.
We have to pay it back, though. Where's it going to get that?
They have it. It's sitting there. It hasn't been touched. It hasn't been sent. It's every penny is sitting in an account.
Yeah, I guess not having the stimulus would be, I guess, the letdown. But yeah, I mean, it could go that way. But then you start thinking, is there going to be, I don't know what happens with the whole plan, because now like everything's been planned towards that for a year to start this administration. You know, so
he would have to go through Congress, right? He would have to go through Congress and have Congress make the rule. Like, so if the Supreme Court does it, they can just put a law through. But will Congress? You know, he'd probably have to give the Democrats what they wanted in November, which he might be having in his back pocket. Like, hey, well, we'll do the healthcare thing if you guys just push this tariff thing through, and they might just jump on it, right? It might be the in between that they need. But I mean, he'd have to. So if this goes through, he has to go to Congress, and Congress can rule it in the law, and there's nothing the Supreme Court can do.
yeah, I mean that would. But like, I feel like right now he's been in this position to where he's been able to implement his plan for the most part, and now it just would be. I don't know.
Well, he's able to implement his plan, but everything goes to the court system. Everything he does is like, hold on, in 3 months we'll figure out if this is legal, which is insane.
Yeah, yeah. We'll
It's
see
been
how.
like 9 months, right? Because he installed tariffs in April.
I just
So-
hope that there's not like this big disruption, because the first year of his first term, he had a lot of pushback, right? And then started catching more momentum, and eventually got momentum. And then towards the end, when the next election, preparing for the next election, they, of course, the opposition started to create more problems. So,
yeah, I mean, he could have solved this all by going through Congress the first time, right? He has the Congress, he has everything on his side. They could have probably potentially got this passed, honestly, because it does help the U.S. It does potentially drop tax. He wants to eliminate income taxes completely and just use the tariff money to be there. So, I mean, as an American, it's like, hell yeah, like who's voting against that?
yeah,
like.
I mean, that's where I think it gets tricky, right? Because you have the midterms, you almost kind of want to force like a vote for that,
Yeah.
because then you can make them look bad to the public and all that stuff. And without getting too political, because that's not our show, isn't a political show, but like it does affect the economy of how this goes, right?
Yeah.
And it's going to affect our space one way or the other. Again, though, after going through 2023, is like, I remember I think it was called the Gauntlet. Like, I played high school football, so I remember just like you get beat up by like all these pads when you run through there, and like your teammates. I felt like we went through that in 2025. We went through that. So whatever happens in 2026, anything could be worse. Okay, but I'm okay to take on just little bumps in the road, as long as we can push forward. Now, if you're going backwards, that's where I'm concerned, and I don't think that happens. I think this is more of, I don't know. Whatever that happens with this, I want it to be out of the way. Let's get it out of the way in January.
Yeah. Well, everyone's saying that this year reminds them of 2019, right? So that's like a look at, 2020.
I was about to say, I thought last year was 2019.
Well, yeah, I forgot it. 7 days ago, it was 2019. Now it's 2020. So if that's the same, right? So let's just, we did have very similar, month through the last 3 months. So if this was 2020, we're supposed to see a 29% gain, right? Or only see a 4%. But, the year wasn't great, right? You had 8%, 24%. And then it really didn't start picking up until April, May, then June, July was good, August was good, but the last half. So is this kind of going to be how it's be? It's going to be like 1 month good, 2 month bad, 2 months good, 1 month bad, and really up until the end of the month. Are we gonna have to wait till November, December, to kind of really start seeing some upward momentum?
I don't know, but I'd take that. Because you're looking at a 4
so bad.
No, I mean, but look at the ratio. You're looking at a 4 red versus 8 green year.
Yeah.
But I would take that all day.
Up until like April, you reversed all your gains. So 2020 was pretty much flat up until April.
Yeah. You know why I would take that though, is because I feel like it would be pretty easy to play the second half of the year. Because you would be thinking, okay, well, there's always a good shot. And I think no matter what happens with crypto's cyclical nature or behavior, there will always be a good shot. Like the Santa rally happens and there's a decent Q4. That's just the nature of our markets in general.
Yeah.
And because if you start to get some indication that that's happening, then you can play that pretty decent, right? Almost every time. Last year was to like an anomaly, right? Double anomaly, almost like a triple one. So where it was like, not only was it the post-halving year, but it was Q4 that typically does decent, and we just got smashed both ways on that, right? So I think the way that 2020 played out, I would be fine with us getting a similar situation like that. But who knows how it's going to be?
The worst part of last year is everything else did great. Gold, silver, stocks, bonds, like everything did good. Like except, I mean, Bitcoin had a great year, right? Technically, it went up to what 135. I mean, that's an all-time high. So Ethereum hit an all-time high, but everything else, I mean, XRP did, but 90% of the altcoins went down all year. So let's move along though. The SEC chairman, Paul Atkins, he's the guy who took over for Gary Gensler. He stated on CNBC that the agency has ample authority to advance cryptocurrency regulation. He expressed strong anticipation for the upcoming Innovation Exemption Act. So this is the big thing that no one's talking about, the Innovation Exemption Act. That basically gives you the 2 years that I've been talking about, right? The 2 years to potentially make sure your project is decentralized. So right now, Base, the Base chain is running technically as it would be a security almost, right? It's controlled by one entity, right? If they did anything, Hester Pierce is breathing down Coinbase's neck and what are you guys doing with this? So they'd have to distribute a coin and have governance, and so they're giving you time now. Once this thing goes through, any project that just launched will have 2 years to decentralize itself or become a security. I think this is probably one of the biggest things here, because Polymarket, they don't want to be a security unless they do, right? But I think they want to be a decentralized commodity that is governed by the people. That's that's crypto. But what do you think about this?
Yeah, I think it's clear, at least, that they're, are going to have that Innovation Exemption Act, right? So people can kind of look to it and see if they can leverage on it and lean on it and stuff like that. These are good things. These are good things for the space, for innovation, for people to feel comfortable, for institutions to deploy investments, more traditional investing, the Sequoias, those type of people, which they're already they're already involved with our space, but they can get even more so, right? And now they can basically incubate their own companies or create their own companies, whatever they want to do. So this is the right direction that we're heading into. This should have been done probably last cycle, but at least it's getting done now.
Yeah, 100%. Move on to some ETF news. So Eric Balchunas says a spot Bitcoin ETFs are coming into 2026 like a lion, and they recorded 1.2 billion inflows in just 2 days. So the Bitcoin ETFs are flowing, and Eric is somebody who's very into the ETFs. He's also saying that there's going to be a ton of ETFs in 2026. There's a Tau one is about to get passed, so they're flowing in every day, and no one's really talking about it. They're just not hitting the news. They're not even hitting Cointelegraph and stuff like that, but there's new ETFs every single day. A lot of them are same Solana, Ethereum, Bitcoin and stuff like that, but every company is trying to have an ETF in their name for Bitcoin and in Ethereum and Solana, and it's coming down to Tau, and a lot of these other ones now are just quietly getting these ETFs.
Yeah, and it is happening quietly. I almost feel like there's this concentrated effort to suppress hype, suppress, keep the digital asset markets very quiet from the public. I just the headlines will come in because they're news headlines, right? And because these people that are in charge of these assets or these new products will, you have to kind of report what's happening there, but it's not I feel like there's something happening with X. I feel like there's the excitement from the overall, like the start of the year, it was there. I actually, normies were asking, people about, what's going to happen with crypto this year. It seems like Trump is really into it, right? And then quickly started to get, shut down in a sense, right? And then now, though, there's this weird, like, eerie, like, silence, almost kind of like no one feels like they know what's going to happen next. And then you get these headlines of ETFs or MSTR being okay, but it's not like the pop and wow type of what we're used to whenever it's like get bullish about this space. You know what I mean? I just feel like there's something that it's almost like a suppression before an explosion, and they don't want it to explode too early or get like people too excited about it before the environment is ready for that. You do have the Trump organization still obviously constantly pro crypto this, pro crypto that, but I just feel like the overall like media machine is not like celebrating or pushing.
And I'll tell you why. It's because crypto has become a right leaning asset, right? Like, and it sucks. I feel like you are right, but who runs the media? The left, right? The left
Yeah.
has 90% of the control. I mean, the only right-leaning media station is Fox. So it's like, while
You have some up and
there's
coming.
new ones.
Yeah.
It's news something and stuff like that. So
Newsmax, and
yeah.
they just
And a
don't
few
do it
others,
as well.
yeah, same thing. But they're not even like talking about crypto either, right? So it's not even like we're getting that. But I do feel like you're right. I think crypto is getting suppressed from the one side, and it sucks that crypto is not bipartisan. I feel like crypto is a right leaning asset, and that might be a long time before we see significant pumps
Well,
because of that.
and when I say they do it better, I don't mean report the news better, because I don't believe that. I'm saying
Manipulate markets better.
well, yeah, that, and also they're just better at like putting out the like wow headlines
Yeah.
and those kind of things, right? But you do have like organizations like Rumble and stuff like that, but I feel like they had more momentum before, right? Like what's the other one? There's Rumble, and then there's another one, Parler, and all these media companies that are more on the conservative side. They're just not like, they're not utilizing the momentum. So you do have some changes within some of those left wing leaning media companies that aren't reporting as hard on the right side, right? But they're just not interested in our space. And I think a lot of it has to do with like the globalization and like the banking systems and stuff like that. They are connected more to the like those traditional media companies than they are to the right side of things, right? And so like they want to like, it's almost kind of like this concentrated effort to not have retail and the public know too much about what's going on, so they're educated enough to before like these these public products get out. You get what I'm saying? Like, because they want to be able to make money off of the everyday normie, like the banks do. You know what I mean? So I don't know. Conspiracy, yes, I like the conspiracy theories for sure. I mean, that's something I like. But I to every conspiracy, I feel like there's a little bit of truth to it.
Yeah, and honestly though, the people that use Rumble and use Parler and stuff, like they're very right. They probably already have some Bitcoin and Ethereum. There's no new people. There's no like normal person that watches like Rumble and stuff who's not right leaning. You know what I mean? Like it's not
the only
a
way that
middle.
would work would be like kind of onboarding and converting a liberal minded person to the. It happens.
Talk to these people.
I know, but no, it happens. Like you see them on X and TikTok saying, I was raised a Democrat and this and that and the other. They're usually comments on like what's happening in Minnesota, or comments of like, like right favored type of content, but they, it's still there, but I don't think that's going to be enough, you know what I mean, to really get people interested in digital assets.
Over the course of the last year, most right-leaning people, especially the hardcores, they're in crypto already, right? So it's like you're not going to bring new people in, right? So, and I think that's the struggle here. All right, let's move along. Though there were 6,168,000 runes transactions over the past month. So in December, 42% of all Bitcoin transactions were runes. This surprised me because I know with Satsman was probably a big part of this, right? Because they had their 3 launches and stuff like that. But like I really didn't see that many people talking about runes. But I mean, 42% of all Bitcoin transactions. I mean, that's a lot of transactions.
It is a lot of transactions. But I think more than anything, it shows you the peer-to-peer cash payment system isn't necessarily thriving, right?
Well, it's
So
on Lightning and Spark, right? So
yeah, I
it's on the
guess so.
L2s.
I guess so. But if there was enough, you would see more transactions.
No
Right?
normal person is going to buy coffee with regular Bitcoin in 10
sure.
minutes or 40 minutes. It's not
But
happen.
but the roll up the Lightning transactions do land on Bitcoin, right?
No,
So
not technically. So they're in a channel. So the Bitcoin, it's real Bitcoin. It's just in channels. Right?
I know, but
so,
eventually those transactions get built up, and then they end up like processing eventually, right?
So saying roll up, saying roll up is such a reach.
Yeah,
From
that's
my
why I said
understanding.
they build up. They build
Yeah,
up,
so
and then they eventually do like a bulk transaction, right?
yeah,
So eventually, you should see some benefit from Lightning in terms of Bitcoin transactions, but
yeah,
it's not going to be like a ton. So I mean, I guess it still
sure.
fits his map of his dream.
Is it time to start looking in runes here? Is it time to kind of start poking our head back? And
I think runes,
especially with dogs pullback, since
I personally think runes in certain ordinals collections are long-term holds if you can. Like if you have the extra money to be able to kind of, it'd be like buying some cards a long time ago and just stuffing them away. And, I believe in this player or whatever in early 2000s, and hopefully it was Brady. Right. Because that kind of situation, right? Like hopefully like Node monks.
Was it Ryan Leaf?
Early, yeah. Oh yeah, Ryan Leaf. That was definitely a bust. But I think he's made a comeback in life, though. I think. But yeah, but that's how I look at Bitcoin ordinals and runes. I think that, and then runes probably a little bit will pop before because they're considered the fungible, right? And there's builders that are focused on them. It's still, like Statsman, like Stats Terminal, those type of companies and stuff.
Stats Terminal, they're not really focused there. They're
Well,
focused
they did kind of. Well, you can still swap them on there, but they did pivot a little bit to Spark and some other stuff there. But there's those Magic Eden's not doing it no more. Yeah, Omnity and Kraken and Kraken, right? So can you buy runes on Kraken?
Yeah, but how they're not building for runes.
Okay.
So we were talking about building for runes.
They support it.
Supporting and building are two different things.
I said builders that are focused on it. They're still considered a builder. I mean, they build ink.
They're a centralized exchange.
And well, don't they have a layer 2?
They're not supporting runes with that L2.
Do they have a layer 2 though? They do.
But they're not building. They're not building for runes there. They're not.
You still have to integrate. Oh my God, they built a ton to integrate runes. They built a ton to integrate runes in their system. They had to.
Well, I'm just talking about the. Well, did they?
Yes,
I mean,
they did.
Just gotta add Casey's indexer.
Well, they did, and it took them a long time.
I can add Casey's indexer for a wallet in 5 minutes.
But it took them 12 months. So they and they said it was a heavy build, and I'm pretty sure they can afford some pretty smart people. So
I don't understand how runes work, but yeah. Myself says, didn't ETH have ordinals? Where can I get those? He wants some ETH.
What were they called?
Direct him.
They were called
Ethanals? No, they were called.
Were they? I think they might have been called Ethanals.
I can't remember.
They did have them. I remember there was this one guy that was like,
yeah,
I can picture his face because he has his real human face as his PFP, and he was like the leader. But they weren't called Ethanals, but they were called something similar to that. But yeah, they did have their moment.
I love that idea. I love the idea of inscribing it into Ethereum, and then instead of pinpointing it to a Amazon Web Service (IPF), you actually do it to the actual ordinal. It's inscribed into Ethereum. I love that idea, but no one did it. Maybe I'll do it.
Well, wasn't the indexer for Punk's version 1 that was on chain? It was on chain. It was in data that was up created on Ethereum's blockchain. So they had to index that somehow, or so
It wasn't what you're thinking. It was more so. It was a different standard than ERC20 or ERC 721. It was a different standard that they chose, but it wasn't like a workable standard. So I don't know if it
Well,
was inscribed or it was just the wrong standard, and they had to wrap them to the new standard.
But it exists on chain versus the ERC 721 doesn't.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
So they had to store the data on chain somehow.
Yeah, I don't know if they were using indexers though. Yeah, I don't know.
I mean,
I actually am curious about that. Myself says I remember Monero had Mordinals, but
the
only
conversation
40K.
just keeps going, man. That's how the meta was. Like it wouldn't be stopped talking about for like a year and a half, and then all of a sudden no one talked about it. But
Myself says forget about self custody and holding actual crypto yourself. Come buy our crypto ETF contract instead. Yeah. 100%. JPMorgan brings JPM Coin to Canton. So we do know they launched on Base. We talked about this, but now they're on Canton. Like Canton is a privacy network. Kind of goes to what we were saying yesterday, how they're going to rebrand Tornado Cash after they outlawed and jailed the creator. To their thing. But Canton is a privacy network. So JPM Coin originally was posted on JPM chain. And it is a stable coin, and they've moved it to Canton. So privacy is something JPMorgan wants.
I'm sure that myself loves this type of stuff. I mean, this is actually going to tell society, like, really, the people that are paying attention, though, right?
Yeah.
So I think this is one of the reasons why, like, it's not, our space isn't being like widely talked about, is because they don't want normies, everyday normies, to hear about these headlines and this and that and the other. If you can keep it within a smaller group of people, then as long as they're very minority, then it doesn't matter, because the majority doesn't know, they don't care. They're just picking up their kids from school. They're, going to the movies, going on a date or whatever, right? They don't care. E-scriptions, there you go. Are you the guy, Jonathan Mitchell? Are you the guy that was on X? It might be him.
It's official, Jonathan Mitchell.
What did you say?
Ethernals? I said Ethernals. Ethernals was something.
Was it?
I remember that.
Yeah, but back to the JPM thing here.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, like, this is they're basically telling people, the banks and the legacy financial systems, they've always not wanted people to know where the money flows. And they probably don't like that I said that, but they probably don't even know I said that, and probably never will. But the whole point is that, like, they don't like blockchain probably because of this. But initially, SEC, everybody hated privacy because it was, the citizens are gonna hide their stuff. Well, now it's okay because, like, the banking financial institutions need to do it.
Yeah.
So I just, it's pretty predictable that this is happening, and it's going to be interesting, because I do think there's going to be groups of people that just start to they'll call this out, stuff like that, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah. The final thing here before news with the trenches, Chris Pavlovski, the CEO of Rumble, he said the Rumble wallet has arrived for everyone. Buy, hold, and tip in Bitcoin, USDT, and the gold.
Hey.
So, but remember we talked about the gold, the XAUT. So now you can send satoshis of gold. So now they have their own Satoshi. You know what I mean?
Scudo.
So you're able to send small amounts. You don't have to send a $4,000 gold thing. Now you can send Scudo, whatever it's called. So they have their own version of Satoshis now. Financial freedom is here. So one big rumor here I'm hearing is they're going to do an airdrop to all these wallets. So make sure you guys go open a Rumble account, put like a couple of hours in Bitcoin, a couple of hours in USDT, and a couple of hours in XAUT, and just leave it there. And potentially, because we do know that Tether is heavily invested in this, right? It is a Tether wallet at the end of the day. Tether created their own wallet system, and then their Rumble's kind of using it here. So I highly recommend everyone go open a Rumble account, because you could wake up one day and have a couple $100, a couple $1,000, who knows, airdrop to these, because what that's going to do is you're going to wake up and they're going to start tipping on Rumble, right? And then it's going to get that kind of like that going a little bit, and it's going to drive people to Rumble. So Rumble wins. Yeah, it'll be an investment from Tether technically, but Tether has the money to do it, right? If there's anyone in the world that can do something like this, it's Tether. Go open up a wallet right now. Go get a Rumble. So make sure you subscribe to a couple channels. We're there. We're over there if you want to subscribe to us. And I think this could be big. I'm going to open one personally. I'm probably going to open like 2 personally. Just throw a little Bitcoin in there, a little USDT, and just leave it and see what happens.
You remember what happened whenever Tether had the plasma launch? Previous to that, if you deposited $1 single dollar, you pretty much got around 10K, $10,000 in XPL, right? So,
and there's a rumor there's going to be a Rumble coin. Having this wallet could potentially get you that Rumble coin. So.
Yeah. So Tether's involvement in this is what part?
Tether owns 40% of Rumble. They are heavily invested in Rumble, right? They created the wallet that is the back end. Tether created their own wallet system. He was in the news a few months ago, maybe weeks ago, and basically said that anyone can use this. It's just the back end. Open it up, use it, and Rumble just integrated that into their system. One of the rumors was they built it for Rumble indirectly. But it's an open source. Anyone can just go load it up and just add it. So they're using that in the back end. But dude, there could be a Rumble coin. Go open a Rumble account, guys. Please. Like, I beg you guys. Like, it's free. So just go do it. Get the wallet. Make sure the wallet is uploaded. Get the words from the wallet because it is a decentralized wallet. Be smart here. Don't miss out on this. It could be really stupid to fade this.
I agree. I'm gonna open a Rumble wallet right after the show. But yeah, we are on there, by the way. And Rumble has opportunity. I feel like all of those they are right leaning. I mean, let's just be straightforward about it. But they have opportunities to grow.
This could be their shot.
Yeah.
If creators are really getting tipped over there because everyone's wallet is loaded, the onboarding process could be like so much more momentum.
Yeah, the airdrops that I think people are anticipating in our space, though, this year, I kind of took that out of my mind because I expected a couple of those for Q4, and it makes sense to wait till it's a better environment. I get that, more liquid environment. But
honestly, if you got airdropped right now, you're selling it. I guarantee you're selling it.
Most people, yeah.
Yeah,
for sure.
See,
so people don't realize this. It's like, if you're wondering why the market is the way it is, our market specifically, just how do you feel personally? Ask that question. Like, how do you feel personally? Because we've seen how the market has affected builders, different partners in the past, and it's affected a lot of the market. A lot of the market.
No, the entire market.
The lot of the industry community and people involved, right? Like, it's affected, and I don't think people realize that as much because they see, snippets on crypto Twitter of Thread Guy. I mean, Thread Guy's obviously he's reached a certain level of success, so he's gonna always seem okay. I mean, he's got big sponsors and all those things. He gets paid to do different. He hosts that Shark Show and all that stuff. But like the average person in crypto, not good. You know what I mean? Not good. But if you're still here, that means you made it through a really tough time. And
I don't think you made it through anything yet. I think you're still struggling to get by. I mean, I think.
Well, I'm just saying.
I think you can see the light now.
You're not going to give up.
You're not fully out. Yeah.
The percentage of giving up just goes down if you're still here. Right now, people can only take so much, but this is a good test of determination. I think for the people that are here. Right? Like, are you stubborn, stupid, or smart? Maybe, or just stubborn, stupid, or smart. All the triple test. You got to figure it out.
Or just a degenerate gambler. Is everyone here just degenerates at this point? Like, the casino makes money in a recession, right? So it's like, is that what we've become? Like, we have to look ourselves in the mirror and say, are we degenerate gamblers at this point? Like, honestly, like, I'm not even joking. Like, do we all need 1-800-GAMBLER? Like, honestly, dude.
Well, you have to also remember, like, there's different parts of the industry, right? You have the content creation, like what we do. You have the participant, and everybody does participate a little bit, right? At least, I think. But some participate way more than others, right?
Yeah.
The ones that don't do content, the ones that are just, you know, some people have just a really good crypto Twitter skill set of being able to communicate through posts and text. I actually think that that starts to go away, but you know, I think it's going to be more about, you know, speaking and you know, showing who you are to the public and these type of things. And I think that could be a part of what's happening right now, by the way. You know, Thread Guy's going to make it because he's on camera all the time, you know, and he gets to, you know, host shows in these events and stuff. But maybe someone like a James Wynn won't soon because he never shows his face. He only jumps on the spaces, you know what I mean? And a lot of people associate sketchy things.
He's thought provoking. People that are
but I think that
through.
but I think some of that's trying to get, they're trying to suppress that. The old stuff that used to get like, you have to have, I think you have to have a non-slimy, you know, kind of way about you. And, you know, people know who you are, what you look like, that kind of thing. Because something is happening on crypto Twitter 1,000%, right? Something's happening to where they are, or Twitter, I should just say X, to where I feel like they're trying to clean up our space in a way.
Yeah, but James Wynn reminds me of like Matthew
Pauly,
Berry, the fantasy football guy, who's just always wrong, just always wrong. But people still listen to what he says.
No, because Matthew Berry, though, but people,
he's always wrong. He's 90% wrong.
He might be wrong though, but I mean, he like, you know,
but he's thought provoking. That's why you listen.
He's respectable.
Like, that's kind of my point.
You know what I mean?
James Wynn. But my whole point is like people that are thought provoking, people that make you think, whoa, shit, what if he is right though? That's the people. I don't think James Wynn goes away. I think you want him to go away, but I think he's going to stay.
I don't care if he stays or goes away. It doesn't affect me. Like honestly, like I don't not like the guy or like the guy. Like I'm kind of no,
you
that's
want your
not true.
$15 back.
Yeah, right. You put 15.
I do.
Like, hey,
I want my. Did you?
I'm impartial to him. Do I think that he gives the space a good look? Not at all. I think completely opposite. I think he gives the space a horrible look.
Well, I love him because like he's the Tony Montana. He's the you need to point your finger at him and say you're the bad guy.
You know who the Tony do you know who the Tony Montana is of TradFi? Of TradFi?
Well, yes. It's Michael Berry, the big short guy.
Okay, but like the way he communicates is very like short. Dude,
he goes, dude. His Twitter,
I'm talking about straight to the point is what I'm saying. Go
follow Cassandra. Okay. His Twitter handle's Cassandra. He goes into he gets like, I don't know, drunk at night or something, and he posts.
And he starts cussing and stuff on Spaces.
And then not Spaces, but like he basically he says some messed up stuff in this, and then he deletes his Twitter account, and then brings it back a couple days later. Like you point at him and say he's the bad guy because he's always short. He's always saying the market's going to end. He is James Wynn, bro.
No, I don't think so. I mean, I don't know him. I don't know him that well, but like from
you got to follow.
Whenever I've heard him talk and stuff, they don't talk anything the same. Like one is very, way more provocative than the other.
One's on drugs and the other one's not. I'm not saying that.
There you go. You just proved my point.
But I'm just saying, TradFi is the suit and tie, stuff like that. Crypto is the hoodie, right? So
who's coming over here?
We get that and they get that. So it's very similar to how they're.
So we used to get that. We
will always get that.
I don't think so. I don't
degenerate gambling addicts. Bro.
So what I don't think
the worst of that.
What I don't think you understand is like their influence and what they're having. Their influence is shown in 2025. What it can do to our space. You know what I mean? Like the TradFi influence.
I don't think our space cleans up that much to where we'll be losing.
It already has some.
Wins.
It already has some.
We're gaining more James wins. We're not losing them.
Who's new? That's like that.
There's a whole bunch of different people that are coming out that are just these hyper liquid whales, and they're all getting these personalities now, and they're all getting famous off these accounts that are like, you know what I mean? Like this person and this person, like, and they might not know him by name, but they know him by the wallet address and shit, right?
No, I mean, come on, like, I think the people that have been here before that stay and stay relevant are like the Gainsies, the Thread guys, because they have enough appeal to them to, you know, they're on
have
video
shows, and
yeah.
James Wynn is just a Twitter personality. He's not
That's
like,
what I'm but
he
that's
doesn't
my
have a
whole that's my
show.
whole point though, is I think that if you are just a simple Twitter account and you're just posting like text, I think that starts to be less influential. And I think the more influential people that become the people that replace that are people that you get to see, get to know, get to kind of that type. They can be, you know, still, because Thread Guy and Gainsey are both, you know, at time they're kind of shock and awe, which, you know, I think that's part of their spiel, which is fine. But the just account only type of things, I think that just goes, I think that gets less and less influential. And I mean, this is definitely some a bit of just speculation and conspiracy a little bit, but there's something that's happening with. I mean, the one thing that's not is something's happening with digital asset space, crypto, and X. What is that? That's the question. I think we got to figure out, why are they suppressing it? Why are they doing things about it? Are they trying to clean it up? Does the TradFi industry say, hey, if crypto is going to be the next financial legacy system, we need to have more reputable, you know, representation of it. We can't have all these people that no one even knows what they look like, all this type of stuff. I don't know. That's one of my best guess.
Yeah, I think if James Wynn goes away, there'll be another one of them. I don't think you'll ever be. And James Wynn's going to grow and grow and grow and grow. He's going to be one of the biggest.
I mean,
voices.
there's definitely ways that you can make them not be relevant anymore.
Yeah, I mean, 100%.
If you own the platform, especially.
They did it to Ben.eth, right? He was they forced him out, right? He made enough money.
He kind of
so
didn't care.
No, he definitely got pushed out after the Ben coin. He didn't want the drama anymore, and I think that he was getting a lot of hate.
I mean, Paulie too,
and same thing.
Yeah,
right? But there's always be another, right? There will always be another.
Those were before.
I think James Wynn is
this
the
new integration, though, is what I'm trying to tell you. In those days, it wasn't. In those days, TradFi wasn't in our space. You know, they weren't in our space. Grayscale was like the most TradFi thing that was there.
He's still considered a creator, right? If you're
right now,
platforms,
yeah. Well, I guess we'll see at the end of this year. We'll kind of be able to kind of see how it's changed. But I think that's what they're looking at. Yeah,
you want to. I think he's going to be over 1 million subs. Right now, he's at 400,000. I think he's going to followers. I think he's going to be over 1 million. Do you want to take the under on that?
Yeah, I'll take the under on it by the end of this year. But is it fake? I don't know. I mean, he could easily add another 600,000 for like $500. 100%. You know, how are we going to be able to tell?
But anyway, make sure you guys go get yourself a Rumble wallet today, day one. Get in there, get that, because it could be airdrop, it could be the Rumble coin. You know, they might try to decentralize the, you know, I mean, how big would that be? The first decentralized, governed by the coin. So,
like an actual public company.
Yeah.
Are they public?
Publicly traded company, publicly traded. Yeah.
That would
be pretty cool.
But the SEC would have to kind of be involved and figure out how.
Well, just works. The governance part of it. It's just the governance part. So basically, you have to.
I mean, still though,
the more you stake,
because their structure right now with shareholder percentage. You know what I mean? You're giving up power from shareholders in board members,
unless you take it private. Unless you just buy out.
So that's a totally different situation.
Yeah, the coin could buy out the shareholders or something. But yeah, conversation for another day. Let's get into our final thing here, which is news from the trenches. So this morning, I had this weird ambition. I was like, I want to see how the pump tokens are doing. Right. I looked at a whole bunch of different places, found Dune Analytics, and just didn't know how to use it. And I spent some time. I mean, Dune's not easy to use if you ever jumped in there.
I didn't either.
I found it. Because originally it was just giving you the pump token, but then you have all these things in here that I had to find. So originally, if you go there and just search for pump fund, you're not going to see all this stuff, but now you can. But the reason I want to see this is kind of looking, because it feels like the meme coins are popping, right? It feels like, you know, with White Whale and some of these other ones, there is some substance now to it kind of being attractive again. And you know, and I kind of want to see if the analytics favor that, and I was wrong. The analytics are not favoring that, right? So
that's a good because that was my kind of gut feeling, because I've looked over on some of the tools I use like GMGM and Axiom, and I was like, yeah, I thought I'd see more activity and stuff on just daily runners.
Yeah, 100%, and it's not. So right now, obviously, we're up a little bit from where we were, but we're not so significantly. So last year, obviously, look at some of these candles, bro. Some of these things were astronomical. This is daily revenue for Pump Fund alone. This isn't meme coins. This isn't bonk. This isn't bags. This is Pump Fund. Pump Fund, we do know that's 90% right now of the daily traffic, right? So it's not any of that stuff, right? It's all things. So right now, the daily revenue is around, you know, 560,000. So it's definitely on the low side of that. But then you go down to stuff like daily tokens created. We're not really seeing a huge output in that. It's kind of been sideways, you know, for a long time. We did see that this is when bonk went crazy in July, and then you kind of saw it get. So we are pretty much sideways. Nothing crazy. I mean, December was a little bit better than what we're experiencing now in a couple of days, but it's not really going. It's not really token creation is not really up there.
Yeah. Was that a favor to bonk? Because I felt like they just kind of was like, okay, we're going to let off the gas. I mean, that's what that chart looks like.
I think a lot of the creators just started creating over there. They just, you know,
I feel like a Pump and Elon and his team were going through a transition of something, and they were just like, you know, maybe they were figuring out the creator fee type of situation or whatever, but they obviously backed off. And you know, you could say bonk stole their business, and that's what I initially thought. But looking at this chart, man, like it was like, okay, you guys can have, you know, domination for a month, and we're gonna take it back. And you know, so just make as much as you can until then. But you know, so and that kind of shows a little bit of the monopolization of the meme coin launch pads on Solana. You know, Pump definitely wins. It's just for sure, 1000%. The only true competitor at this point, this is, I'm not saying this is right and how it should be or anything like that, is Bonk. And Bonk only has that competition because, you know, they have the history and all that stuff. And now they have the right partnerships, right? So they're partnering with USD1. So I think they actually have a true opportunity in the near future to be a true competitor of Pump. But I think that they need to add something else if they can, unless they have these runners that are constantly running with USD1. If they have a, you know, at least a $30 million runner every week or two or something like that week, then they can really bring over retail, right? And that's another aspect that they can take their angle. They can say, okay, look, we have USD1, we got WillFi backing. WillFi's got the Trump organization. The Trump organization can do influence on regular Americans. Let's onboard normies to or retail back to Bonk, right? Because Pump has their kind of cabal groups and all the deployers and all that stuff, right? But man, I mean, look at the entire like chart though. It was just literally that month and a half that they lost complete domination. It's almost kind of like they can take it at will, you know.
Well, I think it was new. I mean, Bonk was news, and it was a hot new thing, right? It was, you know, you always had Bonk.
It was out before
the launch pad. Yeah, but I think it got hot. It was a new hot thing, right? Like it started off slow and then it ramped up, right? But so as a normal user, a normal Pump Fund guy, right? Do you care if you're trading in USDT or Solana? Because I don't give a shit. I actually, even when I'm buying those tokens or USD1, I'm sorry,
I look at it.
When I'm buying those tokens, I pay with Solana. So all I'm doing is a third.
Yeah,
it's going through an aggregator as Solana and it's being purchased USD1 to buy the token. So for me, it's total bullshit. It's just something that makes it. No one uses it. No one in Solana uses USD1.
I know, but it gets converted into USD1, right? And so on the LP side, I guess if you had an argument, you could say it's more stable because one side of the token is in a stable coin, and in the other with Pump, it's Solana and whatever meme coin it is, right? So you know, depending on what Solana's volatility looks like, then you know, if Solana's dumping hard with the markets, if the markets dump hard, then at least half of your LP is going to sustain some of that
way too. If
some of that
dumping hard, your LP's looking great.
Yeah. No,
your liquidity's looking better.
So it does, and I think that's a minimal thing. I don't think that's anything that should like probably sway somebody one way or the other. But where I think people might, okay, so the way I look at it, because I said I do look at it. The way I look at it is, are they ramping this campaign up? Because the WillFi organization said they will be kind of pouring some capital into some of these USD1 pairs. You know what I mean? Eventually. So then you look at it like this, is the bonk token ecosystem hot right now because of this? And it's off and on, by the way. So like 1 week it will be because they're hyping up the USD1 partnership, and then the next week they're shit. And so you got to catch it on the week that it's kind of heating up. And then also the meta, right? The cool thing about the USD1 thing is a lot of times it tries to hit on like almost kind of like political Trump American related type of topics in the news, right?
I hate that though.
I know, but you can catch a runner if there's a really strong narrative with it. But at the end of the day, like they're performing similarly to the pump tokens that do well. You know what I mean? So it's like, yes, like the MAGA token, whenever that came out and they talked about, it was the first MAGA USD1 that ran to, I think like 3 million or something, 4 million, and then back down to like 300K, right? The same thing's happening on pump though. Like it's probably happening more frequently because there's just more coins just launching there, more groups that have these volume bots and these bundlers that are pumping it up and all that stuff. And so, but yeah, I don't know where we were going with that, except for, yeah, I do look at it, but it doesn't mean I automatically go after it. It has to be a pretty special scenario. Plus that week, the bonk coins have to be on like heating up, because definitely if they're not, even if it is a good narrative.
You mentioned the USD1 potentially, adding liquidity to this stuff, right? I think that's the same as Pump Fund doing an airdrop one day. Like it's things that it's like
true could happen.
But when, right?
Yeah,
and
but that Pump Fund airdrop hurts a lot of.
But we're talking 4 months now since that USD1 stuff was supposed to happen, and that never. So everyone who's banking on the USD1 coins getting extra liquidity added from the team, it's the same thing. It's the hope that never comes.
But Pump Fund, I think, has been a year and a half about airdrops. They've been promising.
Their token just came out in like April.
Huh?
Their token just came out in April.
No, but they've launchpad since their launchpad came out, which was February of 2024. People have been anticipating it, and they've been hinting at it, and then finally they actually said it. I believe they actually said the words. I could be wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure they did.
I don't remember seeing anything from the Pump account. I mean, I would have definitely made our news, but I could be wrong.
It was before we were covering it that much. Yeah.
Well, the Pump news came out in April, so we were definitely covering Pump in April. But
move
along.
Yeah.
So the token's launch was 24,000. Graduated with only 191. So if you look at this chart right here, this is the graduation. So again, you're not seeing any of these numbers from last year around this time. That's that crazy. Last January, dude, there was 60,000 tokens that graduated every day, bro.
There was
for like a month, and now we're at like 21,000. It's crazy. We're about a third.
Still a lot.
Yeah.
Wait, is that graduated?
Wait, no,
tokens?
I'm sorry. I was
deployed.
Wrong. So
Deployed.
865. Yeah, 865. And now we're only getting 103. So deployed, I was wrong. Yeah, so deployed, it was not 59,000, 60,000 deployed, and 912 graduated. So it's still pretty astronomical when it comes to percentage of graduate. But we do know that people just launch coins, 50,000, coins and shit like that. So move along. The next thing is the volume. The volume is not close to even where it was in last, August, right? Or even last April. We're still pretty down. So again, another thing to kind of tell you that, the energy that we're seeing is not real, right? It's in a few coins, and stuff, but it's not happening throughout the ecosystem. So another telltale here, which is that one, and then daily active wallets. So the daily active wallets is up. Does this tell you anything?
Daily active wallets is up. Yeah, that there's probably more people deploying tokens because of the creator fees, maybe, or people probably okay. So up from where? Year over year?
So it's up. It's the highest point it's been since September.
Okay, so I think people are anticipating. right? So that's
Yeah.
one thing that I have felt on crypto Twitter is the anticipation for runners. One of the things in this game is like the FOMO that exists is missing White Whale, right? And White Whale ran obviously, and now they don't want to miss the next one because they are worried it's going to start this meme coin cycle again. So I can see, daily activity wallets jumping up for that, and also deployers. So deployers are probably anticipating too, because, if you are deploying coins and you have more players because they're anticipating and they don't want to miss a runner, then that gives you opportunity as a deployer for creator fees. So the whole creator fee meta has changed the dynamics of meme coin launch pads. And no, I mean, I think Bags offers like maybe a comparable creator fee thing, but they just like Bags is horrible. Bags is just trash. But Bonk doesn't. I don't think their creator fees comes anywhere close to what Pump offers.
No,
Right.
it's not.
So the creator fee incentive mechanism has been very powerful for just chronic deployers, right? People that are just constantly mass deploying tokens, and that's not healthy for the space to find a runner for people to stay in, because what does that do? Whenever you have more potential opportunities, then you don't tend to stay in an opportunity you have confidence in, because you feel like, well, maybe this is not the opportunity. And that's where a lot of these rotations are coming from. And that's why it's gone from a, okay, I saw about like 3 to 5 potential runners today. I got into them, but really I only held 2 of them because I believe in it, like, to not really holding any of them, and you getting into like 20 potential runners and getting right out of them. You know what I mean? So like the game has changed completely. Everybody knows that when it comes to meme coins.
Yeah, for sure. And that is your news from the trenches. Not much really happening in the trenches today because it is a red day, but kind of looking at some analytics. Hopefully I'm going to keep an eye on this. I'll bring it up once a week on the show, and we can kind of really kind of pinpoint if there is going to be some runners, or is this over? I feel like we're going to see a lot of projects that are people that are, and I say this every day, but people that are doing their thing, doing their vibe coding or whatever with all these amazing tools that are available now. And we're going to see a lot of projects being meme coins in a way, right? So like they come out, they're here for a couple of days, and they just completely go away. I think we're going to see hundreds and hundreds of those, because it's going to be so easy now to create a project that looks really legit, that maybe the guy, he just does it for a couple of days and moves on.
Yeah, and the thing about that is, I think it might take some time, but I think it happens this year, is that the people that had the capability of launching tokens, and it changed, right? So like you go back from before Pump Fund, you had to know how to launch a smart contract to launch a token, right? And now you go to Pump, so you had to have that, at least know somebody knows how to do that, or learn it yourself. And then so that was a smaller group of people. Then it grew whenever Pump Fund came out, so anybody can launch a coin, but can you make it successful? It's not about launching a coin anymore. It's about, can you make the coin people actually buy into it and make it bond? And then so that group was like bigger than the previous smart contract group, but still like pretty concentrated if you have the skill set, or Cabal group, or FNF group, or whatever, right? And now what I think happens is actually opens back up. So I think it opens back up to, because like each individual person now, like, because you're dealing with more numbers. You can have more good people. You're still gonna have a lot of people that try to scam, I think, but then you'll have people that would be like, if I just knew how to do this, then I would create like an incentive mechanism that works for other people. It might be Ponzi, it might be not, or something, but you're gonna see an awesome idea come out this year for sure, multiple.
Yeah.
And we saw a little bit of it with like the Snowball token that was using the creator fees automatic. It would automate the creator fee wallet and then buy back the token. And that's why it's called Snowball. I'm not sure if that dev was that great of a person or not. I don't know, but people were kind of questioning him, but it worked initially. But stuff like that, I think he built a Telegram bot to do that and automate it, right? Probably used AI to do it. And so, you know, people are going to start doing that, and they're going to start creating platforms, and maybe they roll their token into the platform and for fees and all types of crazy stuff you can do.
Yeah. And what's a better way to get users? Right now, it's hard to get users, right? But if you launch a token, you're immediately going to get like 200 new followers, because people are going to be like, oh, what is this? I mean, just
so it's a marketing
guy.
standpoint.
It could also be used in a market. So it's not, it couldn't just be about, like, you could create something, right? And say, I don't know if this is going to be good or not. I have no idea. But let me drop a coin and find out, right? And the coin does really well, you know, you have a banger in your hands and you continue building it. But if it doesn't, is it okay to move along to the next one and start building something else? Or do you think that person who dropped the coin is he has to continue building that project because it has a coin now?
Well, I think it's just, you're going to start looking at it similarly to like businesses, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of times the people that have successful businesses, they've had 3 failed businesses prior.
Yeah.
I mean, look at Hyperliquid. You know, the founder of Hyperliquid was in the Binance incubator program in 2018 or whenever that was. And his initial idea didn't work. And, you know, I don't know if Binance got like percentage of something to become something. But if so, that's unfortunate, because like he built like this monster called Hyperliquid, right?
He wasn't building a perp project. It was something else.
Yeah. And so, you know, that I think that you can treat that the same way. Now, of course, like you don't want someone that's had 20 failed businesses, right? Because like if you're an investor and he's asking for investment and you find out that he had 20 failed businesses and this is his 21st, probably not going to invest in them.
I don't know, because I watched a documentary. It was on Netflix. It wasn't a documentary. It was about the guy who did WeWork. And he was a serial entrepreneur. He had 13, 14, 15. And
were they failed?
Still, yeah, pretty much.
They all failed?
Some of them were shit too. It was like he tried making like this new diaper.
But that's an anomaly.
Really
that's an anomaly.
I'm just saying, no. But I'm just saying, like, SoftBank didn't care. SoftBank, they when they invested in him, they did it because they loved the idea, they loved the project. So I don't even think it matters how many you have.
I mean, I think that it matters some to some people, and maybe not. Like if you have a knockout of, don't ever give up. I'll say that. Don't ever give up in like, you know, trying to build a business.
No, you should give up sometimes. If the project
I'm not saying with one specific business. I'm talking about in general. To be successful, don't ever give up, right?
100%.
But what I am saying is track records do matter at some point, right? To some people, right? But if you do have that great crazy idea, it could, you know what I mean? It could supersede
that. Yeah, for sure. Well, that's our show for you guys today. Really appreciate the people that are watching. I know times are tough right now, and you guys everyone is kind of checked out still. We're kind of seeing that through the viewership. But we love the people that are watching each and every day. We appreciate you guys, and it's going to be a great year. It might take 6 months, but I do think it's going to be a really good year. And the people that do stick around, you're not degenerate gamblers, you're innovationists, right? No,
survivors.
I appreciate you guys, survivors, baby.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely appreciate you guys. Without you guys, we couldn't do the show. We are very grateful, but without our partners, we also couldn't do it. So if you could check them out, we would greatly appreciate that. Merlin Chain is uniting Bitcoin strength through the power of AI. I think they're doubling down on AI and BTC-Fi, right? But with their Wizard version 2.0, it can guide you through Merlin Chain's ecosystem, but it can also kind of guide you outside the ecosystem. You can swap for popular Solana tokens and BNB tokens. All you got to do is have some Merlin Chain Bitcoin in your Merlin Chain wallet, which can be a Bitcoin wallet like Unisat or Xverse, or which I prefer is the MetaMask side, just because it's simple, pretty straightforward. You can use that as well, and you can have some Merlin Chain Bitcoin in there, and it can swap for those tokens outside the ecosystem. But doing the DeFi stuff inside, it can swap for you for tokens within Merlin Chain using Merlin Swap. and then it can stake for you on your behalf, right? And speaking of staking, Merlin Chain uses a proof of stake security model, and you can participate in 3 ways. The first way is staking Bitcoin to earn more Bitcoin, which is an awesome product. It's getting really, really popular now. If you go to merlinchain.io, go to the staking there, you can click on Bitcoin, and you can see their first staking vault ended September 30th. They got 17% APR for their stakers there. The second staking vault is ending tomorrow, right? So you're probably not going to be able to get into that, but they probably get around 17%. The goal is minimum 8%, maximum 21%. So somewhere in between that range. And then the third staking vault, they will announce that. So make sure you're following them on X and you go to their website, check out all the information there. But there's 2 other ways to stake with the Merlin Chain token. The first way is the flexible day-to-day option. You can get 15% APR if you stake on this flexible option here. You can claim your rewards every single day. You can roll them up into a compound interest strategy, sell them, hold them, whatever you want to do with your rewards, but you can claim them every single day. If you do want to withdraw your Merlin Chain token, there's a 7-day cooldown period, so just know that. And then the last option is the bonded option, which is a 45% APR. They are locked up for 6 months, though. Just know that. But the cool thing about it is you can claim your rewards every single day. And again, you can do whatever you want with those rewards. It's up to you, but you can claim them every single day. So head over to merlinchain.io. We should have another update from the founder, Jeff, next, I believe this coming weekend. He's been out of town for just holidays and stuff like that. So stay tuned for that, as we should release that probably Sunday night or early Monday morning for you guys. And then our next partner here, which is satsman.fun. They are a meme coin, like a fun meme coin launchpad on Bitcoin Layer 1. They are about to be, like, any day they're going to announce the date that they're going to open this up to the public, so you can launch your own Bitcoin Rune token on their launchpad. You can actually do more than just launch a Bitcoin Rune there. You can, etch or bid for one of the short tail rune names, the ones, because the way that Casey built it, basically it starts for the longer ones. Of course, Casey did that, right? You got to wait as time goes down, but you can start bidding as they're going to be available 30 days out. So that's when you can start bidding. People are starting to do that, as you can see. But outside of that, right, they have their Genesis tokens that they launched already. The 7Z token is leading the way. That was the first one that bonded there. And then the second one is the Land Wolf there as well, you can check out. But you can also check out a educational video that we put out that kind of gives you some foundational fundamentals of starting a community and meme coin success, right? So we used some examples like Dog to the Moon and Leonidas with leadership and stuff like that. So really cool. Look, these guys are really passionate about Bitcoin Layer 1 assets, and I understand why. They're going to be around forever. Bitcoin's never going to go anywhere. Some of these other chains might, but Bitcoin won't. So that's why they pretty much put all their eggs into Bitcoin Layer 1. So check it out there. Once these tokens do bond, though, let's say you launch a token, it bonds, it goes to RichSwap, and that's where the liquidity is put. So really awesome stuff there. They utilize the ICP tech stack to make doing stuff on Bitcoin Layer 1 fun, fast, and just really cheap too, right? So it's fun, fast, and cheap, and you can go there and you can experience it. So head over to satsman.fun and stay tuned, as we'll announce it as well once they open this up to the public. But thank you guys so much for checking out our partners.
Yep. Great job, man. As always, you guys have a few more minutes. Wouldn't mind checking out some of the best articles in all of crypto on onchainrevolution.io. Creator Capital Markets. This is one you guys need to read if you haven't read it yet. They're 2 to 3 minute reads. You can read them very quickly, but it really gets you caught up on what is going on. Check out all the articles right here. And on top of that, if you guys need a VPN, I highly recommend Nora. I use it each and every single day. Browse with better online protection. Save up to 70% of Nord's 2-year plan. They're done the 3 months now, so you can't get the 3 months anymore, but you can still get it. And they did raise the price up a little bit. Now it's $3.39. That's why it's not great to wait, guys. You wake up one day and this is 4 hours or 5 hours, but right now it's $3.39. But you still lock it in for 2 years. You still get the 70% off using our link. Get a VPN. It allows you to stuff like Hyperliquid. It allows you to use stuff like MEXC, anything that geo blocks you. But on top of that, just don't go around using these sites without your stuff on. It's not a good idea, because your IP can lead you to your address. Put it to Italy, put it to El Salvador, put it far away from where you are. Do not let people know where you are, right? If you're doxxed, that's fine, but still, you still don't want to be showing these websites your IP. Don't do it. Make sure you guys use our link to make sure you get that discount as well. If you go to the site by yourself, then you're going to get in some trouble because you got to pay $10 instead of our $3 there. So on top of that, if you guys are interested in buying a Ledger hardware wallet, make sure you guys use our link here. Yeah, Ledger 9OS, my personal favorite. Use it. This is one of the few wallets that don't get hacked. Their information does, but the actual wallet does not. So hopefully they learned from the last mistake. But if you are interested in getting a Ledger, if you're already going to buy one, make sure you guys use our link here. And we really appreciate you guys. And remember, we are live Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Central, 8 a.m. Pacific, and 3 p.m. UTC. Check us out all week, guys. And until tomorrow.
Peace.
OnChain revolution roll call. Market recap. You're not bullish enough. No. You're not bullish enough. No. Look at the price go. Bitcoin control. Why you still coping? Price action rolling. Don't fall for bear trap. Swapping indexes and putting it up in the sex. I can take profit right now. OnChain is where I be now. You can never look back. They don't want you to know. How did the market react? Fear and greed gotta adapt. Now we bridging the tokens and arching the network right now. You know how crazy we are. Nookies are savages now. They know how crazy we are. Chain abstraction, main attraction. OnChain